the most powerful messages of the birth of Christ is peace on earth, goodwill to all people. And it's a birth that takes place in the middle of the night in a remote corner of a remote part of the world. But it's for the world, for the whole world. And it's the announcement that God is with us, and God has come to be among us, to be one of us, to know our joys and our sorrows and our sufferings alongside of us, and to redeem all of it. In the text for this Sunday, we're actually jumping to the Gospel of Matthew. Matthew is the Gospel writer who tells us about the visit of the Magi, and also tells us about the fear of King Herod and his jealousy of Jesus. And so the text for Sunday is about Herod and the threats he makes to put an end to Jesus, to put an end to any power that will threaten his own. And as a result of his threats, the Holy Family has to leave Bethlehem and flee to Egypt, has to leave the country for the sake of their own safety. John August Swanson painted a piece entitled Flight to Egypt that tells this story through art. And so we're invited this week into this painting to gaze upon it and ponder it and see what it reveals to us about the plight of Mary and Joseph and Jesus and others like them throughout the ages who have had to flee their homeland to be safe. In this painting, the Holy Family is fleeing persecution. Herod wants to kill Jesus and has plans to kill all the male children under the age of 2. As we look at Mary and Joseph, how do you imagine they are feeling in this moment? One commentator viewing this picture observed that it evokes the plight of migrants and refugees today. What do you think? How does this image speak to their suffering? How does this image speak to God's presence in their suffering? In the background of the painting, you can see Herod's soldiers knocking on someone's door and also standing at the gate of the city. Whose home do you imagine it might be? Can you imagine what the person opening the door might be saying? If it were you, what would you say? What might these soldiers represent in our own day? What might they represent in your spiritual life? We see the Holy Family surrounded by angels and even watched over by owls. What do you think those owls represent? What do you see in the angels' faces? What do you think the artist meant to convey by including these angels? As we witness the plight of Mary, Joseph, and Jesus, and also the care and guidance offered to them. Is there anything about this painting that inspires you to action? One truth about Christmas is that Jesus was born into a broken world, a world in which there were powers that were jealous and that were led by fear and violence. We still live in a world that is not perfect, and yet Christ is born into our world. As people of Christ, as followers of the light and love of Christ, how can we be beacons of hope in our world as it is and help transform it into the world God longs for it to be? May we lean into that calling, and may that calling give us hope for the world.